Why am I saying this? Well, because we all love each other even though we're not conscious of it. And why do we love each other? Because we all have, as I've already said, the same family name with a different first name. So we all believe in the same ideal, but we all have our different views on that ideal. And we use different names and different forms. There is a book which is called Once Upon a Time. I don't make any money out of it, so don't think that I have some interest in saying what I'm saying. But in that book, there are precious stories of the olden days in Surrey. The father and mother came together. That was a miracle. You want to know something about it?
Yes.
I have already told it last time. I'll try to tell it again. Perhaps adding a little bit more color to it.
Good.
Because each time one tells a story, one tells it in a different shading. My father was, the fame of my father as a musician came to the attention of Mary Baker Eddy. Does anybody of you know who is Mary Baker Eddy?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And she thought it would be interesting, a good, wonderful event to invite a great musician from India to come and offer Indian music for the first time in America. This is an historical fact. It was the first time that Indian music was ever introduced in America. And that was in the Hindu temple in San Francisco. We all know the story. You can find it in the biography if you don't know it. The yogi was, of course, happy to have for the Hindu temple to have been hired for that occasion, was unhappy to the fact that the musician was a Muslim. And in those days, it was hardly possible for a Muslim to play music in a Hindu temple. So of course, he said to the musician, well, half an hour, that'll be all right. Now we all know, and I think you more than anybody else, that it takes more than half an hour to tune a veena. So of course, Hidayat Inayat-Khan always said, whatever happened, he always said, it will be all right, it will be all right. That was one of his leitmotifs. He constantly, whatever happened, whether it was good or bad, he always said, it will be all right. Yeah, he was very optimistic. It's perhaps a very good lesson. Whatever trouble one has, well, it will come all right, and sometimes it does. Not always. Perhaps later. But what did he do? He only sang Hindu music, and the most sacred music, with such devotion and such beauty that the audience of the Hindus were so tremendously, deeply moved, and they just went on saying, we want more, we want more, we want more, and it went on and went on and went on. And the yogi said, I have never heard a Hindu musician playing as beautifully our sacred songs as you Muslim have offered us today. And Mary Baker Eddy came with her niece, was a young girl, blonde hair, blue eyes, And the magic happened. She fell in love.
Shouldn't we say they fell in love?
Her name is Ora Ray Baker, a young girl from California, the niece of Judge Baker, who was that famous judge in Albuquerque. But the clever girl, you know, young American girls are very clever. I don't know if you know that, but I do. Found among the papers that he left, you know, Indians are not always very orderly. I think you know that. The address of the House of Baroda. And so she wrote to the family, found the address, got the address, jumped into a ship. In those days, passports did not exist, and knocked at the door. Here I am. What a tremendous energy. What a tremendous courage.
Have they been corresponding? Have they been writing?
No.
And
No, not
had
at
he
all.
declared himself to
But
her?
look, in those days there was no email. It's a different world.
Hadn't Hazrat Inayat-Khan expressed something to her when they were together of the similar affection, so she would have a reason to come to Europe?
When they were in America together,
No, of course not. No.
No, she
No,
doesn't.
no.
Oh,
Inayat Khan just said to her, well, this just can't work because it's not possible. I mean, he was an Indian musician, and this was an American young girl. That in those days, it was just impossible to imagine anything that anything could develop in any way. But she had that dream, and she just left. I think that many of you know that the Murshid of Hazrat Inayat Khan said, go to the West and unite the East and West with your music and with your message. So somehow there was this force which brought them together. And then
very young.
in London, she had to
Gotcha.
be the mother, not only the wife of Hazrat Inayat Khan, but the mother of the brothers. There were the three brothers. No, at least two. No, two to begin with, but three later. And
Beginning.
hardly any possibility of communicating in English. They could hardly speak English in those days.
Did
And
she
then
feed them?
one-
Did she feed them and do their laundry?
Pardon me?
Did she feed them and do their laundry? And
But in those days, there was no wash machine. There was no fridge. What was there? Nothing.
they could not afford any help.
Well, there was no money. There wasn't a penny. They went out from time to time to give a concert of Indian music, and there was a lot of starvation in those days. It's hardly possible to imagine the trouble, the suffering and the problems that both the mother and father went through in the first years. And then, of course, the troubles became even worse as the children were born, because, of course, more necessities, more worries. That's why sometimes I feel a bit guilty for being a child, because I did cause, of course, more trouble. Yeah.
Did you have to play your violin for the guests?
Well, that's another story.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yes. You think you could just play it while we try and do it?
What is going to happen with the Federation? Do you have any idea?
You mean in the future?
Yeah.
Well, this is what I'm saying over and over again. The message is a universal message. That means should be made available to all types of people, to high-collared people, to hand workers, to hippies, to complicated people, to simple-minded people, to rich people, to poor people, to happy people, to unhappy people. The message should be available to everyone, not only to one type of person, not only for the intellectuals, for everyone. In other words, the movement is keeping the traditional product of the founder. The order is more creative, they try to make variations on the original creation. The Ruhaniyat, which is the third organization, is mostly open to young people, very young people. Not only young people in age, but people who are young in mind. And therefore, these three organizations together are three different windows open to these different types of people. And personally, I have nothing against these variations. I think these variations are good because they offer the possibility for different types of people to be attracted by one and the same message. That's why the Federation is so important, because it is a home where all these different variations are welcome, are respected, and where we can all learn from each other.
Exactly.
And where we try not to criticize each other, and to recognize what each other is doing. And we know very well that people in the movement, for instance, would not be happy in any of the other organizations, and people of the other organizations would not be happy in the movement, which is quite normal.